A woman who had everything except the one thing she desired most. Would she find love, or was it destined to slip through her fingers forever? Watch till the end to uncover her journey, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more incredible stories. In a quiet sunny village nestled among the hills, there lived a young woman named Amina. She was the kind of beauty that made people stop and stare. Amina's beauty was so captivating that it had the power to make everyone who saw her pause in awe, their eyes following her every movement, as though time itself slowed down in her presence. Her chocolate-brown skin shimmered under the sunlight, glowing with warmth. Her thick, luscious braids cascaded down her back like a river of silk, each strand shimmering under the sunlight. Her eyes, dark and deep, sparkled with a light that mirrored the stars on a crisp, clear night, giving her an almost ethereal presence. But Amina wasn't just beautiful, she was also kind and hardworking. She was one of the best weavers in the village, creating stunning, colorful wraps that everyone admired. Her vibrant pieces reflected her spirit and skill, capturing the essence of the village. Her reputation as a virtuous woman added to her allure. Amina was known as the village virgin, a woman who held herself to high moral standards, waiting for true love and marriage before giving herself to anyone. Many men in the village sought Amina's hand in marriage. They would bring her gifts, baskets of yams, jewelry, and even goats, hoping to win her favor. But Amina wasn't interested in their shallow advances. She longed for a man who loved her for who she truly was, not just for her beauty or her virginity. Her heart ached for a love that would see beyond the surface. Her parents, however, were growing impatient. "Amina, you're not getting any younger," her father would say. "We want to see you settled and give us grandchildren before we grow too old." Among her suitors was Akum, the son of a village chief. Akum was a successful carpenter, well respected because of his father's position and his skill in crafting furniture for the king's palace. Akum approached Amina's parents and pleaded with them to persuade her. The chief himself visited Amina's father, saying, "Amina, my daughter, Akum is a fine young man. Please consider his proposal. He is serious about you." Out of respect for her father, Amina decided to give Akum a chance. He was charming, and he seemed genuine. Before long, they were engaged. But as the wedding approached, Akum's true intentions began to show. He repeatedly tried to convince Amina to sleep with him, arguing that they were practically married. Amina held her ground, but one day, out of love and trust, she relented. That night, something strange happened. No matter what Akum did, he couldn't penetrate her. The pain was unbearable for Amina, and she asked him to stop. They tried again the next day, and the day after that, but it was always the same. Frustrated, Akum revealed his true colors. "I only wanted to marry you because I wanted to be the first," he sneered. "What good is it if I can't even have you?" Heartbroken, Amina begged him to be patient, but Akum's pride and anger got the better of him. He ended the engagement and told the entire village about her condition. Soon, men came forward to date her, and Amina decided to test her condition with every man she met. Each time, the same result: none could succeed. The news of her condition spread like wildfire throughout the village. Amina was ridiculed and mocked, accused of not having a private part at all. When she walked through the village, men would point at her, laughing and whispering. This was deeply frustrating for Amina. Gradually, all the men in the village began to avoid her. The woman who had once been admired by all was now rejected by everyone. Amina's parents, devastated by their daughter's suffering, sought help from the village midwife. The midwife examined Amina and confirmed that her condition was rare. Her private part was too small, making intimacy and childbirth impossible. They tried every remedy the village medicine men suggested, but nothing worked. Despite her sadness, Amina poured her heart into her weaving, finding solace in her craft. Her colorful wraps brought joy to her customers, even as she carried the weight of her sadness. One day at the market, she crossed paths with a man named Ugana, a successful trader from a neighboring village known for buying and selling textiles. Ugana had heard of Amina's exceptional weaving skills and wanted to see her work for himself. When Ugana saw Amina's wraps, he was amazed. "These are the most beautiful pieces I've ever seen," he said with genuine admiration. Amina couldn't help but smile at his kind words. They began working together, and over time, they became good friends. Ugana's cheerful personality and respect for her made Amina feel at ease. As the weeks turned into months, Ugana realized he was falling in love with Amina. One evening, after a busy day at the market, he confessed his feelings. "Amina," he said gently, "I love you. I admire your strength, your kindness, and your talent. Will you give me a chance to make you happy?" Amina was stunned. She had grown fond of Ugana, but her past experiences made her hesitant. She began avoiding him, hiding whenever she saw him approaching her weaving shop. Ugana was confused and hurt, but he didn't give up. One day, he surprised her with a visit. "Amina," he said softly, "if I've done anything to upset you, please forgive me. I only want to understand." His sincerity touched her heart. She decided to open up, asking for some time to gather her thoughts. A few days later, Ugana invited her to the riverside. The sun was setting, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. "Amina," he said, "you can trust me. Please tell me what's troubling you." Feeling safe in his presence, Amina shared her story. She told him about her condition, the humiliation she had faced, and her fears of being rejected again. As she spoke, tears rolled down her face. Ugana listened intently, his heart breaking for her. When she finished, Ugana took her hand. "Amina," he said, "you are more than your condition. I don't care about that. I care about you. Love doesn't have to be defined by what others expect. Let me show you that we can create our own happiness." Amina was deeply moved by his words. For the first time in a long while, she felt hope. Amina and Ugana began a new chapter of their lives together. He kept his promise, showing her love and affection in ways that didn't depend on physical intimacy. They shared laughter, dreams, and quiet moments under the stars. Ugana found creative ways to express his love, making Amina feel cherished and valued. Their relationship didn't go unnoticed. The villagers who had once mocked Amina were now intrigued. How could a woman with her condition find happiness? Slowly, their whispers turned into admiration as they saw how Ugana treated her with respect and devotion. Amina's weaving business flourished even more with Ugana's support. Together, they expanded her craft to neighboring villages, spreading her vibrant designs far and wide. Amina's joy returned, and her parents were relieved to see her smiling again. One day, while sitting by the riverside, Amina looked at Ugana and said, "You've taught me that love isn't about perfection. It's about acceptance and finding joy in the little things." Ugana smiled and held her close. "And you've shown me what true strength looks like," he replied. Their love story became an inspiration, teaching the village that happiness comes in many forms. Amina and Ugana had been married for 2 years, and their love was strong. Ugana adored Amina, even though she carried a condition that made her heart heavy. But Amina often wondered, what if one day Ugana grows tired of me and leaves? These thoughts haunted her, along with her deep wish to share physical closeness with him and give him children. Ugana's family didn't make things easier. They accused Amina of witchcraft, spreading cruel rumors that she had eaten her own children and made up her condition to hide the truth. They came to her home often, hurling insults and making her cry. But Ugana stood by her side, fiercely defending her every time. Despite his support, Amina felt isolated and defeated. One day, while sitting in her shop, tears rolling down her face, an old woman entered quietly. Amina quickly wiped her tears and greeted the woman. "Hello, Mama, you are welcome. How may I help you?" Amina asked. The old woman smiled weakly. "Thank you, my child. I am poor, and my granddaughter is getting married. I want to buy her a wrapper as a gift. Can you show me the cheapest ones?" Amina showed her the options, but the woman's face fell when she heard the prices. She turned to leave, murmuring, "Thank you, my daughter." "Wait, Mama," Amina called. She handed the woman a beautiful wrapper and said, "Take this for your granddaughter. You don't need to pay. I wish her a happy marriage." The old woman's eyes filled with gratitude. She blessed Amina, her voice trembling with emotion as she prepared to leave. As she paused, she said, "My daughter, I know about your condition. The whispers in the village have reached my ears. I might know a way to help you, though it is a dangerous path." Amina's heart raced. "Please, Mama, tell me." The old woman leaned closer and whispered, "In the silent forest of Ojiji, there is a magical tree called the Tree of Truth. If you drink its sap and make a wish with a pure heart, the tree will grant it. But the journey is not for the faint-hearted." Excited and hopeful, Amina rushed home and shared everything the old woman had told her with Ugana. Ugana was skeptical but saw the hope in Amina's eyes. "How can we be sure the tree exists?" he asked. "We don't know for sure," Amina admitted, "but we must try." The next morning, they set out for the Ojiji forest. The air was heavy, and the dense trees whispered as though alive. Despite their fear, they pressed on, hand in hand. The forest was unlike anything Amina had ever seen. The trees were ancient, their roots twisting like the arms of giants, and strange sounds filled the air, whispers, laughter, and even cries. It felt as if the forest itself was alive. "Stay close," Ugana said, his voice steady. "We mustn't lose each other." The first trial came when they reached a clearing filled with golden butterflies. As Amina tried to walk through, the butterflies swarmed around her, blocking her path. Their whispers were harsh, "You are unworthy. Turn back." Amina closed her eyes and remembered Ugana's words, "I am more than my condition." She whispered slowly, and the butterflies parted, allowing them to pass. They ventured deeper into the forest, and the air grew colder. Shadows danced among the trees, and strange whispers surrounded them. Suddenly, a massive snake appeared, blocking their path. Its dark scales shimmered, and its glowing eyes were filled with menace. "Stay behind me," Ugana said, pulling out a machete. The battle was fierce, but Ugana, despite the snake's strength, struck the fatal blow. However, the snake bit Ugana on the neck. Amina cried and did everything she could to draw out the poison. With all her strength, she pressed her lips to his wound, trying to suck the venom out. Ugana collapsed, and the venom spread quickly. "Stay with me, Ugana," she pleaded. Despite his weakened state, Ugana stood, and together they continued their journey deeper into the forest. After many struggles, they finally reached the Tree of Truth. The tree's glowing branches swayed in the wind, and its voice echoed deep within Amina's heart. "I seek your help," she said. "I came here because I wanted to be whole, to bear children, and to end my suffering. But none of that matters if I lose Ugana. Please save him. Heal him." The tree's voice was solemn. "Are you certain this is your one wish?" "I am sure," Amina replied, her voice steady. "Please save him." The tree granted her wish, and Ugana was healed. They returned to the village, their love stronger than ever. Though Amina's condition remained, they had faced the impossible and survived together. Their love became a beacon of hope, a testament to the strength found in true companionship. Despite the trials they had endured and the love they had fought for, Amina and Ugana's path was not without its difficulties. Though the magic of the Tree of Truth had healed Ugana, Amina's condition remained unchanged. Yet, their bond was unbreakable, and the love they shared grew stronger each day. Amina, with Ugana by her side, learned to find peace in the love they shared, even though it was different from what she had once imagined. As time passed, the village began to see them not as an anomaly but as an example of what true love meant. The villagers who had once mocked Amina, now admired her for her strength and resilience. They no longer whispered behind her back but began to approach her with respect. Even the women, who had once judged her harshly, came to her for advice, admiring how she had handled the challenges life had thrown her way with grace. Amina's weaving business flourished more than ever, as her vibrant designs were now sought after in neighboring villages. Ugana, ever supportive, helped expand her craft, ensuring her pieces were sold far and wide. They became a successful team, with Ugana's business acumen complementing Amina's artistry. But the joy of their success was often overshadowed by the lingering pain of their struggles. Amina's heart still ached at times when she thought of the children she could never have, and the physical closeness she had always dreamed of sharing with Ugana. She often wondered if her condition would always hold her back from experiencing those aspects of life. Despite Ugana's unwavering love, there were days when loneliness would creep in, and Amina would wonder if there was more she could have had. One day, as the two of them sat by the riverside, enjoying the peaceful quiet of the evening, Amina spoke her heart. "Ugana, I love you with all my heart," she began, her voice soft yet filled with emotion. "But sometimes, I still wonder if you truly have all that you need from me. I see the other women in the village, and they have families, children. I wonder if you ever wish for that too." Ugana looked at her, his gaze steady and full of love. "Amina, my heart is full because I have you. You are everything I need. I've never asked for more. You have shown me what true love is, and for that, I am grateful every day. You are my world, and I will never want for anything more than you by my side." Tears filled Amina's eyes as she looked at him. His words were a balm to her soul, healing wounds she hadn't even realized were still open. It was then that she realized that her worth was not defined by physical beauty, by children, or by societal expectations. It was defined by the love and strength she shared with Ugana. In the years that followed, Amina and Ugana continued to build their life together. They traveled to faraway villages, sharing their stories and spreading the message that love is not defined by perfection or convention, but by trust, respect, and unwavering devotion. Amina's weaving became not just a craft, but a symbol of the beauty and resilience of her spirit. Though she could never bear children of her own, Amina found joy in the children of the village. She became a mentor to the young girls, teaching them to weave, to find strength in themselves, and to embrace the uniqueness of their journeys. Her reputation as a wise and kind woman spread far, and she became a beacon of hope for those who felt different, those who faced struggles others couldn't understand. One day, an elderly woman approached Amina with a request. "Amina, you have always shown kindness and generosity to others. I ask you now for something that will help heal my heart. My granddaughter is about to be married, and I know she will face many struggles in her life. Could you give her one of your beautiful wraps, to help her begin her journey with strength and courage?" Amina smiled softly and nodded. "Of course," she said, "it would be my honor to help her in this way. May she find the strength to face the challenges ahead, just as we have." As Amina handed the woman the beautifully woven wrap, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had come to understand that love and kindness were not bound by any limitations. Through her artistry, through her journey, she had created something far more powerful than what anyone had expected of her. Her life, once defined by shame and rejection, was now one of acceptance and respect. And in the quiet moments, sitting with Ugana under the stars or weaving her colorful wraps, Amina knew she had found her true happiness, not in perfection, but in the love she had for herself, for Ugana, and for the life they had built together. Epilogue. Years passed, and the story of Amina and Ugana became a cherished tale in the village. It was no longer just about a woman who had faced adversity and survived, but about a woman who had thrived, loved, and taught others to do the same. Their love became a legacy, passed down through generations, a reminder that true happiness is not found in perfection, but in the strength to embrace who you are and the love you share. And though Amina never had children of her own, the village came to see her as a mother figure, a woman whose heart was wide enough to nurture the dreams of others, a woman whose love had no boundaries. In the end, Amina's legacy was one of courage, kindness, and a love that transcended all barriers. It was a love that, like her weavings, would never unravel. As the years passed, Amina and Ugana's life together became a true testament to love's transformative power. Their love was no longer just a story whispered behind village walls, it was something that inspired everyone who came into contact with them. They had both evolved, becoming more than they had ever imagined. Amina's weaving business grew, but more importantly, her influence in the village expanded. She wasn't just the weaver who made beautiful wraps, she was a teacher, a mentor, and a woman whose inner strength made her an icon of resilience. People from distant villages came to seek her wisdom. They wanted to know how she had overcome the challenges of her past, how she had found happiness when everything seemed to be against her. One afternoon, a group of young women approached Amina at her weaving shop. They had heard stories of her strength and courage and asked if she could teach them not only the craft of weaving but also the art of resilience. Amina smiled warmly, gesturing for them to sit. Weaving, like life, takes patience and dedication, she began. But it is not the only thing that defines us. You must learn to weave the fabric of your own strength, to find the threads of hope and joy that bind your soul together. The woman listened intently as Amina shared her story, her struggles, her heartbreak, and her eventual triumphs. The journey of life is often unpredictable, Amina said. We may not always end up where we expect, but we can always find a way to shape our lives into something beautiful. The beauty comes not from perfection, but from how we handle the imperfections that come our way. Over time, Amina became the village's symbol of unconditional love, resilience, and the strength to live authentically. Her home, a humble but warm place, was always filled with visitors, young and old, men and women, seeking guidance, a listening ear, or simply the comfort of her presence. Despite the outward peace she had found, Amina sometimes still faced inner struggles. Late at night, when the world around her slept, she would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering what more her life could have been. She would think about the children she would never have, the family she could never create. She would imagine what it would be like to feel physically close to Ugana in ways that others seemed to take for granted. One evening, as they sat together under the stars, Amina confided in Ugana. Do you ever wonder what our life could have been if things had been different? If I could have had children, or if our love could have been like others? Ugana took her hand gently and kissed her forehead. Amina, he said softly, our life is different, yes, but it is no less beautiful. I would never trade a single moment of it for anything else. What we have is more than I could have ever hoped for. Amina leaned against him, her heart full of love. She knew that what she had with Ugana was something rare, something that could never be taken away. Their connection was deeper than anything physical. It was a bond of trust, respect, and unwavering commitment. As the seasons changed and the years passed, the village began to honor Amina's wisdom and strength in deeper ways. They named a road after her, a path that led to the forest she had once traveled in search of the tree of truth. It was a symbol of the journey she had taken, not just for herself, but for everyone around her. Amina's legacy became interwoven into the very fabric of the village's history. One spring morning, when Amina had reached her 60th year, the village threw a grand celebration in her honor. They gathered around a large bonfire in the village square, lighting the night with 1,000 stars. Children ran around, their laughter ringing through the air, as people from all over the region came to celebrate the woman who had changed their lives. Ugana, now older but still as strong as ever, stood beside her, his arm wrapped around her waist. They had lived a life filled with love, hardships, and triumphs. Amina looked around at the faces of the people she had touched, and she realized something profound. Her journey had never been about finding perfection. It had always been about accepting the imperfections, the challenges, and still choosing to love herself, Ugana, and everyone who crossed her path. She had learned to weave a life full of joy, despite its challenges. "Thank you for everything, Amina," Ugana whispered in her ear as they danced together under the stars. "You've made me the happiest man in the world." Amina smiled and kissed him softly. "No, Ugana," she said with a wink. "We've made each other happy. This life is ours, and it's exactly as it was meant to be." As the night went on, the village sang songs of love, hope, and resilience. And in the heart of that celebration, Amina knew that her story would live on, because love, in all its forms, had always been her greatest legacy. Amina and Ugana spent the rest of their years together, continuing to inspire those around them. The children who had once looked up to Amina for her strength now grew up to be strong, kind individuals, inspired by the woman who had never given up, no matter the obstacle. Amina's raps, which had once symbolized the pain and rejection she had endured, now symbolized a life of acceptance, grace, and joy. In her final days, Amina sat in her weaving shop, surrounded by the children of the village, who came to hear her stories. Her hands, though aged, still worked the loom with skill, creating vibrant pieces that would forever tell the story of a woman who had not only woven cloth but had woven an entire life full of meaning, love, and purpose. And as Amina closed her eyes for the final time, Ugana by her side, she felt at peace. She had lived a full life, a life that had touched the hearts of many, a life that would never be forgotten. This marks the culmination of Amina's journey, a story not just of trials and tribulations, but of the growth and fulfillment that comes from facing them with love, courage, and an open heart. Amina's legacy will continue, not only in the village she helped shape but in the hearts of all those who were touched by her life.